Hey guys, my name is Roary Tubbs. I am a senior UX interaction designer at GE. I know that's a mouthful. What does that even mean? I'm a product designer at GE. A fun fact for you, GE Digital is on the track to be one of the world's top 10 biggest software companies by 2020. And one of those primary reasons is because design and the investment they have in design. So what do I do at GE? I do research, heuristic analysis, prototypes, everything that falls underneath the UX research and the UX design perspective. And really, GE kind of has this mentality that they kind of require their designers to understand a little bit of research. And I actually believe personally that it benefits a designer to understand research, but also understand code a little bit as well. And that gives them the greater perspective of how a project and how everybody else on their team is going to be working with them on that product. So I'm going to talk about creating a UX or creating a culture for UX based off of my 11 years of designing and what we are learning currently at GE. First though is I want to say UX is not a person. Design is about solving a problem through a creative solution, which takes a village to be impactful. You have to be honest with yourself and be humble. You can't do this alone. You can't build these products by yourself. It really takes a team to do this. It also requires ownership, not from you, but also with those people on your team. So within GE, everybody has a seat at the table from dev, engineering, project managers, architects, stakeholders, everything like that. And they aren't driving the design direction, but they have perspectives that we as the design team, maybe we don't understand or we didn't think through at the beginning. And then another thing is culture has to be built, and sometimes that culture takes a long time. And this kind of applies to startups or freelancers or large companies. So building the culture. So we've had quite a few struggles building a design culture at GE. GE is a 125-year-old company. And they have a lot of old school thinking that software as a service, like these things are done, our products are done. In reality, as most of you guys know, building products is an iterative process. And it's really, GE has always been about data, but it's about data and empathy. You read the data, but you listen to the people. And so some of the artifacts we've created to help build this culture, we do share and educate. So we do like brown bags and stuff like that, where we share out things that we've written, things that people have written that we find interesting. But we've written a glossary of all UX design terms that anyone can ever think of. And we point our team members to that glossary to understand when we say prototype, what does that really mean? Or high fidelity mockup, what does that really mean? Wireframes, everything like that. And whenever people don't use the proper terms, we really challenge them. And not to be sticklers with our terminology, but we believe that when people understand the terminology, they really have a buy-in into what design means. And that's really important to create a culture, is you want people to have buy-in for design. You want people to see design as valuable. So we also we advocate our process. When we work on our products, we sit down with the teams and we say, okay, this is where we're at. This is what you're going to be getting. This is where we're going to be in a few weeks. This is how long it's going to take. And of course, that always doesn't work out like we planned, but we want to advocate our process and how we do things. And then another very, very important part is communication. We've really changed the way how we communicate. We stopped using the word finished and handoff because this is an iterative process. I'm not as a designer and then I just pass everything over to the dev and I'm like, you deal with it now. This is a back and forth conversation of not just dev, but content writers, because they're writing content for our applications too. It's very important for them to understand how we're designing, why we're designing, so they can understand how to write good content to make sense as well. So we also, this is a bit more of a challenge, but we've also tried to stop using the word user and started using person or the actual persona name. We've found that having a name actually develops more empathy and relationship with our actual people that we're designing for. And so we've tried to stop saying user and try to refer to them as people or their persona name. And I wanted to share this slide with you. I found this slide not too long ago. I felt it was very encouraging, and it tells you about how design cultures have to be built. So if you look at IBM from 2010 to 2012, they had one designer for every 72 developers. And then this past year, they have one designer for every 8 developers. So you see there is change happening with design cultures. There is these companies are seeing the importance of design and putting a lot of money into the design culture. I know that was a short 5 minutes, but I'd love to talk to you guys about anything UX or maybe even working at GE someday. My contact information is in the handouts along with some resources. And with that being said, any questions? For new designers? Well, it's different between different organizations within G Digital because I mean we have several hundred of designers, but we have basically packets that we hand off over to them of like what our Slack channels are, where our resources are at, what sketch files you need to find, what daily or weekly meetups you need to be part of, stuff. So we have it's kind of like a packet that's handed off, and there's also a design liaison who's kind of walks you through that process of because we're a huge company and what all they need to be aware of and what they know. No, definitely not a handout because it'd be many pages. So it kind of we basically we started of just like the design team just adding stuff and like kind of referencing it internally because even there were some designers that weren't using proper verbiage, which I hate to be a killjoy with that, but like when you're having an organization this big, the words matter and how you describe the things you're working on. But so we started to work on it more internally between our team. But then we started to really advocating it. We'd put it in our signatures, in our links, or if we correct somebody in an email in our meeting, we send them to a link. It's basically an internal link that they can go on. It has several hundreds of definitions of people. And we kept it really short and as simple as possible, not trying to go super in depth like psychology and stuff like that, but try to keep it short as possible. Anybody else? Yep. I mean, GE kind of has a different philosophy than more of like than qualifications. I mean, I came back from an engineering background that I went to design about 10 years ago. It's really more about cultural fit and just kind of some basic understandings of is this person teachable? Are they willing to learn? Are they hungry? Are they aggressive with trying to learn new things? Like how often are they researching or wanting to kind of push the bar on stuff like that? So there's really not like per se qualifications, at least within my organization. It's really, we look at cultural fit first and then kind of how you would jive with the team. Because it's to me, it's more about a person's personality, and then we can kind of find a fit for you to fit within the organization versus like, hey, I'm from this school and I have this degree, but I really suck as a person. So kind of important. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, yeah, from digital specifically. Yeah, I mean, that's for G Digital, yeah. So, I mean, you have your other business units like healthcare, aviation, stuff like that we build products for. But yeah, we follow close to a methodology called FastWorks, which is very agile, very like customer ideation, iterative process. And there's training that G offers for that and going through safe training, stuff like that for agile development. Cool. Thanks, guys.